Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I want to cover an interesting topic I saw online that talks about a Democratic congresswoman from the state of Washington who is apparently looking to be primary challenged by a group of farther left Democrats saying she is too moderate and has voted with President Trump and the Trump administration on too many issues. A group of citizens in Pacific County is mobilizing to challenge U.S. Representative Marie Gluesenkamp Perez in the 2026 midterm election. The group plans to submit a resolution at the May 13th meeting of the Democrats of Pacific County, urging the Washington State Democratic Central Committee to support their cause. And just to be fully transparent, I'm recording this video the day before on May 12th, so I'm not familiar at this time how that meeting went down. So depending on how that meeting went down, make sure to leave a comment below telling me how that went as well. The resolution calls for the WSDCC to acknowledge that Gluesenkamp Perez's seat will be contested by other Democratic candidates in 2026. It also requests that the party refrain from providing assistance to Gluesenkamp Perez as long as there are Democratic challengers in the race, and to support these challengers in gaining equal footing against the incumbent. Now, historically, that usually has not happened. Incumbents almost always get help from the respective party organizations designed to help incumbents. That's the point of them being incumbents. But we'll see if this actually does work out. The group argues that Gluesenkamp Perez has, quote, repeatedly voted and worked against the best interests of her Democratic constituents. In the 2024 primary election, she was the sole Democratic candidate on the ballot, leaving many voters feeling compelled to support her to prevent a win by Republican Joe Kent, the group argues. As the incumbent, Gluesenkamp Perez benefits from the automatic support from the Democratic Party, there you go, which the group claims makes it difficult for other candidates to receive adequate support and resources from the state party. That is certainly true. It's very hard to unseat an incumbent, which is why incumbents usually almost never get unseated for that very reason. They have a big advantage in terms of raising money, PAC support, support from endorsements from fellow representatives and statewide officials, and various other reasons as well, including the cachet and name recognition of running before county-wide or district-wide and winning. That all plays into the incumbent being usually very hard to defeat. Late April, the congresswoman faced a tense and angry crowd at a Vancouver town hall. The uproar was triggered over her support for a Republican-led bill that would change voter registration rules. She was one of just 4 Democrats who voted in support of President Donald Trump's Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which was nicknamed SAVE. Many held signs and chanted "Voter Out" as a jab at Perez. I do not support non-citizens voting in American elections, and that's common sense to folks in Southwest Washington, Perez said in a press release. While voting fraud occurs, it's rare and limited in scope and gets prosecuted, according to the article in the group. The resolution highlights several grievances against Gluesenkamp Perez, including her voting record on environmental and immigration issues, her alleged support for unproven voter fraud allegations, and her failure to support fellow Democrats. Opponents of the SAVE Act felt frustrated over Perez's vote and were concerned it would hinder the ability to vote for many, like married women who have changed their name. My last name is not the same as what it was on my birth certificate, Lynn Busby told KATU on April 24th. I know a lot of people who don't know where their birth certificate is. It's just another way for her to suppress the vote, and I feel like it's because of her donors. I just think that Marie Gluesenkamp Perez is not turning up to be the person I thought I was fighting for, protester Cheryl Pauling said during the town hall. Additionally, the new resolution proposed criticizes Gluesenkamp Perez for not fulfilling promises to the Chinook Indian Nation regarding federal recognition. The Chinook Indian Nation, made up of the 5 westernmost Chinookan-speaking tribes in the mouth of the Columbia River, released a statement regarding their efforts to restore federal recognition through legislation and disappointment in their discussions with Congresswoman Gluesenkamp Perez. The statement said they are seeking a new legislative champion to replace her. Chinook justice enjoys immense support regionally, with over 30,000 petition signatures and the support of our closest neighboring tribes, local elected leaders, and nonprofit organizations. We're heading into the next phase of the restoration fight with the confidence and backing of our local community, a statement read. A recognized Chinuk Indian Nation will benefit all Washingtonians and Oregons. We are the original people of our place, and we aren't going anywhere. The nation was federally recognized in 2001 under the Clinton administration. That recognition was rescinded in 2002. In the intervening years, the Chinook committed to pursuing every pathway to restore their status, including through congressional legislation. The group said they are advocating for the Washington State Democratic Party to ensure a fair primary process by providing challengers with access to party resources and services at discounted cost. Just given the historical precedent of elections and how incumbents usually fare, I would be shocked if that actually happened, where the party didn't throw their support behind Perez. I thought this was very interesting because in the 2026 U.S. House elections, the Republicans currently hold 220 seats, Democrats currently hold 215, including the Washington District right here, where Perez represents. This district is a very, very close one that, according to the Cook PVI, has a ranking, the 3rd District, of Republican +2 as of the Cook PVI rating. So this district, even though it is barely an advantage, is technically a lean Republican rating at the Cook PVI level. And the incumbent right now, Perez, seems to do a good job of being more of a moderate Democrat and getting a lot of crossover support. And what's interesting is the Democrats who are frustrated with her, who want someone that's more pro-Democrat and probably less moderate, could actually hurt the Democrats' chances at winning this district. There's been a lot of examples in the past of competitive primaries actually causing the incumbent to lose come the election, because if a large part of the Democratic or Republican Party is mad at the incumbent, they may feel like, oh, I'm not going to turn out and vote for them because I don't really like them, which could then in turn embolden the other party to get more voters out to vote, and that ends up flipping the seat. Will that happen here remains to be seen. Right now, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez has not officially ruled she is running for re-election, though it's expected she probably will. Publicly expressed interest candidate Brent Henrick, who was a candidate for this district in 2022, could potentially run against her, as well as 2 other Democrats who have filed paperwork or formed exploratory committees to run. The Cook Political Report currently has this race listed as a toss-up. Inside Elections has it as tilt Democrat. Looking at the Cook Political Report House ratings, the Cook Political Report views the Washington 3rd District as 10 Democratic House seats that are toss-ups for 2026 and what's expected to be a very close race. This district in 2024 voted for Gluesenkamp Perez over the Republican Joe Kent by 3.9% in a lean Democratic margin. In 2020, it voted for Perez by 0.82% over Republican Joe Kent, just under 1 point. This is also the first election since it was redrawn after the 2020 census, when in 2020 the district went for the Republican Butler by 13 points, in 2018 for the Republican Butler by 5.3. You can see when it was redrawn how this part, it seemed to make like kind of an L shape right here. The district was redrawn into being more of a straight line with some edges here and there, but not as like L-shaped as the previous district. The voting numbers in 2024 showed Perez getting about 215,000 votes, Joe Kent getting about 199,000 votes, leading to about a 16,000 vote win for Perez over Kent. Whereas if you want to look back in 2022 in the very close race, Perez got about 160,000 votes to Kent's 157,700 votes. So a very close election, around 3,000 votes, separating Perez and Kent in 2022 in a very close race. So these are the last 2 elections here. When you look at how the district has trended from 2022 to 2024 since being redrawn, it has trended 3.1% for Perez from 2022 to 2024. And this is a race where it may stay Democratic even if Perez is not the Democratic candidate, but it's at very least close enough when you look at the Cook PVI and shows it to be Republican +2, that could be a situation where a very competitive, nasty Democratic primary could actually in turn hurt Democrats, where if the Democrats nominate someone that's more on the left than Perez, there could be a good number of moderates and independent voters who maybe support Perez who decide they don't want to vote for that new Democratic candidate because they're too progressive or too far on the left, which may actually be able to help the Republicans in narrowly picking up this seat. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that is a possibility that has happened in both House and Senate races across the country before. If Perez runs for re-election, I right now would probably expect her to win, probably by around a lean Democratic margin. But in this scenario where 2026 could be very, very close, it's not inconceivable to see the Republicans flipping up this House seat if Perez is significantly primaried and loses her seat on the Democratic side. So it's interesting because I understand the Democrats' frustration with her being moderate and not anti-Trump enough, but it's also a little bit a case of you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes, because that could actually end up hurting the Democrats' chances at winning this seat again, depending on how polling develops over the next few months. It's a very similar situation to Jared Golden in Maine, where he's also another very moderate, even kind of more pro-Trump Democrat than many others, where Democrats have talked about before that they would love to primary challenge him as well, but his district is Republican +4, and if any other Democrat besides him were to run and be the nominee, it would almost certainly be a guaranteed Republican flip, where that would give the Democrats 2 less seats and Republicans up 2 seats in situations like this. So it's 2026. We're talking about how it's going to be a great night for the Democrats, and the Democrats could win back the House. We aren't talking about the possibility of maybe Democratic primary challengers to the more moderate members that could actually make the Democrats lose a few seats as well. So it's very interesting when you talk about these scenarios and how things could potentially unfold. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment below telling me your thoughts. Again, this video was recorded prior to the meeting, so I have not seen what happened yet. So leave a comment below telling me if anything significant came out of that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.